So, Al, Leann Richards, how are y'all doing?
Good.
Great.
Okay.
You guys have a story that really relates to what we're talking about this week, and it had to do with someone pretty close to you, someone pretty dear in the family, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Tell us about the little guy who's no longer a little guy a little bit. Just tell us about your boys. You got two guys.
We have, our oldest son is Bryce,
Yeah.
and he's been a member here for a long time, dealing with the church, and Brendan, and he's 23 now.
Bryce is 23.
Yes.
Yeah. Graduated from
UNCW.
UNC Wilmington. Yeah. Great place.
And Brendan is 17 now,
Yeah.
and is a junior at Eastern Alamance High School.
Okay. And he's active in our youth group.
Yes.
Right.
Very active in the youth and
Yeah.
doing the improv groups now.
Well, Brendan is at the center of the story,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And of course, Mother is at the very center of the story as well.
Right.
Yes.
So, Leann, what happened that let you guys know that there was something going on?
Yep. In about the end of August 2004, we were actually at our small group having dinner. We were Dining on the Vine.
Yeah.
And
that's a group led by Daryl and Emily Bozovich. Yeah, right.
We started
Sure.
that
Yeah.
when we started coming here.
Right.
And Brennan thought he had a bug bite or something.
Uh-huh.
He's got a little lump.
Yeah.
And so we looked at it, didn't pay much attention to it, and we went to the doctor, and because it didn't go away.
Right.
And it looked like a swollen lymph node. Maybe we've got an infection or whatever. Started antibiotics, and really soon, even before the antibiotics were done, I just didn't have a good feeling, and I really didn't think that this is what we were dealing with. And we had some friends that got us into an appointment with Duke. Now we'd actually, this was September at this point, we just bought a brand new home.
Oh.
And had moved in, had our appointment 2 weeks later at Duke.
Okay.
And by now it was about a month, and it was growing quite large. And so as soon as we went in, and they did an initial needle biopsy, and called us the next day, and I mean, Duke worked very fast. They had him in and needed a regular biopsy to be done. And we got things rolling right in that first part of the end of October.
Yeah.
He was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, large B cell, and everything was underway.
Yeah.
And Rick Martin was with the children's ministry at
Right.
that time.
Oh yeah, Mr. Rick.
And he was Brendan's pal, and so he was there, and he hung out with us through several different procedures and surgeries, and
Yeah. Well, did Brendan really know what was going on? Did he understand the severity of what was going on now?
I think so. I really, being 8, I really do. Maybe not at first.
Yeah.
But when he started, probably a month into his chemo, I mean, he said one of the most profound things, and I wasn't even there.
Really?
But he told, cells crashed, had to rush him back to the emergency room.
Yeah.
And he told Leann on the table, well, at least you have Bryce if I pass.
Oh my goodness.
At 8 years
Wow.
old. And
For Mama to hear that.
and then, to me, to hear it later, because I'm trying to work and,
Yeah.
keep
Keep
everything
things
going
going.
the best that I can. And, I'm a tough guy. I'm
You're
not
a tough
gonna,
guy.
and
I know your daddy, and I know why you're a tough guy. I met your dad. Absolutely.
and I think it was Daryl called me one day when I was at work, driving back to the shop so I could go pick up Bryce, run back to Duke, bring her dinner, and I just start crying. I said, "This is great. Here I am driving in this bright yellow critter control truck." Big, strong guy, tears rolling down my face, and everybody's looking, what's wrong with this guy? Driving down 147, so it was tough. But
those are tough times, because when Brendan would go in for treatments, he would go in for a 7-day cycle where he would be admitted for at least 7 days.
Yeah.
And then I would be with him that whole time, and still trying to work.
Yeah.
And keep things together.
You mentioned, Daryl and Emily and the small group. I know what are some of the ways they came around you and some of the other folks that kind of invested in you at that time?
Our small group, I believe it was Emily that was the key person that everybody would contact.
Yeah.
And between South Mebane, where Brennan was going to the elementary school, and Integrity, and our small group, they would organize the meals. When Brennan was on those 7-day cycles and when he was admitted to the hospital, I didn't go home.
Right.
So I still had a teenager, Bryce was a freshman, and my husband at home.
Right.
That they would provide a meal. It would be delivered every single evening when I wasn't there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And for me, that was huge.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Because it took one burden off of me that I didn't have to worry about. And yeah, that was one huge thing. But also that they were there for us, the prayers and the support that came from all of that. I mean, our being connected to our small group was huge.
Thank you for finding me when you did. You changed my life. Now I believe that love.
And it was amazing to me. We would kind of ask questions, you know, what's happening this week, and somebody always had an answer, right? Because somebody knew, right? Somebody in small group, somebody in church, you know, somewhere. And it seems like you guys were just really, you know, getting, you know, feeling the love, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
of a number of people.
Yes.
And there were other people too. I know beyond the small group. Al, I know that was a time too where you had been vested in those guys in your youth small group, right?
It was shortly after that, but I think the biggest reason that I did get vested is because Jonathan Gardner.
Right, John was our youth pastor.
Was the youth pastor at the time, and Bryce was in the youth group. I think he was in 7th or 8th grade.
He was a freshman, but he'd been.
Oh, was he? Okay. Somewhere in that, and Jonathan wanted to come and because Bryce and he went to the hospital, and you know, he's just. One-on-one with that guy is unreal. Yeah,
John's was unbelievable one-on-one guys that I've ever met in my life. Yeah,
and it was just to have somebody that cared for no reason. That's what I mean. Yeah, I think that's what was tough for me because I'm not, I don't let people in, to my personal inner circle, and because this. Trust issues, I guess, is the biggest thing, and to just see unconditional love like that was blew my mind.
It kind of earns your trust, doesn't it?
It does. For it's like these people have lives, and they are busy. Everybody's busy these days. Nobody, and to just see for God's love to come and help a family out in need, and that was just
seeing them give of themselves, right, for you. Absolutely,
that was a huge eye opener for me, and I think that's part of the reason that I started helping out, just being an adult male in the youth group, and then shortly after that is when we got our little group together. And that
was a pretty cool time. It was a great time, I know it was. So I remember. Very vividly, the quickly put together event, right? To kind of help you guys out and do some, help out financially and all.
That was huge.
That was right before Christmas, right?
It was right before Christmas. I want to say it was December 18th.
Okay. Well, it was right before Christmas, all right.
And Sharon Yao and Anthony Carey and the staff here at Integrity whipped together, and that's the only way to really describe it.
Yeah, it was quick.
A silent auction where they went around the community and got donated items, trips, and all kinds of crazy items, and also the youth put on chef's coats, and they served desserts, and we had a big. Huge event that night, and silent auction, and I can't tell you the exact amount, but it was well over $10,000 that was raised that one evening, and I think a lot of times people don't really understand that even though you have insurance, there's a lot more that
Still a
comes
lot.
with it. 20%
Is 20% of a lot is still a lot.
is a huge amount.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and the little things, the parking, the you know, the transportation back and
That's
forth, the gas. You know, it was just
It
it was huge and such a huge help. At that time,
Yeah.
you know, we were trying to you still try to keep your jobs. You know, you've got your options of the FMLA that you
Right.
can use, but if you take that, you don't get paid.
Yeah.
It keeps you from losing your job,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
it doesn't help you pay the bills. And
Yeah.
granted, like I said, we just got into a brand new home.
Yeah. And that's
was huge.
that's still working out good, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's in place.
God is good. It's
yes,
great.
it was.
Yeah.
It was. And as I say too, as I said, it just worked out because when we got in there, we didn't have the furniture from the apartment to fill the house, and we had Brendan's bed down in the living room for the times that he was home, so he could be part of the family, and
Yeah.
it worked out. So
That's great. That was
but
pretty cool.
Yeah, that was huge.
What are some of the things that you guys have learned personally? What did that episode in your life mean to you? What do you think?
That was a moment for me that was hard as a mom, just always being there and taking care of everything, to let it go and let others help me. And that was really tough. And also just to let it, you know, you can't, it's one of those things where all you can do is pray about it and let go and let God, because that's all you have at that point. You have no control.
Did you question during that time, Leann, where God was in all of this?
But you know what? When I think back how odd, I totally did not.
You didn't
I did
ever
not.
question that?
It was,
That's great.
I had such a peace about it, and I don't know if it was the connection with the small group and the prayers. You go in such an automatic mode.
Yeah, yeah.
But I would think that would be something that you would sit back, why us, and throw a pity party or whatever. But really, the comfort level came from a place that I'd never experienced before.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
That's incredible. Al, what about you? Lessons learned for you?
Me, on the other hand, no, I questioned. At the first, I was like, you know, I'm trying to get my life together, because I've had some issues in the past. So, you know, with some other things, people that know me know, and it's not that important at this point in my life.
Sure,
but
absolutely.
So, you know, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
You know, how this would work, you know, and for me, you know, I had a moment. I was sitting at the apartment at the time, and this was right when we were figuring out this is probably not just a little issue, and to this day, it's the one and only time that I know God talked to me.
Really?
It's like, it's going to be okay.
How about
You know, and, you know, not that he doesn't talk to me, but this was something that was
He's not spoken to you quite like this.
No,
Right,
and when we went to church that day, it was one of the times that you said, if you've got some issues, come to the front. And I don't think I'd ever been, I've talked to like Jonathan and you and Chuck and when I've had issues, and you know, I went up there and she was shortly right behind me.
That's
and cool. It was one of those things. But to me, the hardest part for me was I couldn't fix it.
Yeah.
I could not, you know, I could not just, you know, this was my little boy that was going through, you know, spinal taps.
Yeah.
And I couldn't, I'm sitting there and he's crying because he's hurting and I can't do anything about it. And that's, if I'm not the one to just sit back and on the benches and say, how you doing? Yeah, and that was tough.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. And it's pretty cool to see the man lead the way to the altar, huh? How about that?
Absolutely.
And that's what the power of God can do when it gets on to him. Well, thank y'all so much. I mean, you guys are an inspiration to me, always have been. I think, Leann, matter of fact, a couple of other times, I think, other mothers who have had issues with their children, I think I've kind of connected them with you because of your experience.
We dealt with the love for Lexi, and that experience that we had doing ours helped April and the rest of the crew put together that, and so we keep on passing it along.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a beautiful thing. So we appreciate you guys, and I'll show Al. Thank you, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Good connecting with you tonight. And,
yeah.
We think the world of you guys.
Thank you.
God bless.
Thank you.
Love you.
All right.